It's Wednesday, it's first pitch. I'm the Prez, Dave Cokin, my regular co-host, and the legend himself with us today. And lucky for us, and there's a story behind that belt, Dwayne Bryant from wagertalk.com, one of the best, if not the best around. Dwayne, how the hell are you, man? Nice noggin. You look very buff.
Well, I didn't get time, but I appreciate you having me on the show. Dave, I've never actually met you, but I'll be in Vegas the first week of September. I hope to be able to sit down with you because I'm sure you've got some really good stories to tell.
I got stories, that's for sure.
Yeah, they are good. They're old, used up,
yes,
washed over, repeated, but good nevertheless.
Still pretty funny.
Yeah, and we should one day do a show, Dave, about like your time with Feist and how you got.
Well, the old timers do have some great stories, and if anybody has not picked up the book yet, Chris Andrews, one of the great odds makers in Las Vegas for the past 4 decades, has written a book. I know it's available at Amazon. It's called "And Then One Day." And it's 40 years of bookmaking in the desert. And I screwed up the subtitle, but it is, for anybody who likes the gambling and the talk and the stories, you got to read this book. It's absolutely one laugh after another. Great.
I'm getting a book today, Dave. It won't
by Chris Andrews.
I'm getting a book today. It won't be that. I'm going to get the Howard Stern book. He's got a whole bunch of excerpts from all his favorite interviews. I think that's going to be really, really good. Dwayne Bryant, let's talk about, before we get into the games, you got a belt behind you, like a wrestling championship belt. And I want to explain that to everybody, including Dave, because there is some relevance, that belt, to the three of us. Dave, that belt signifies Dwayne Bryant was the leading handicapper at wagertalk.com in 2018. Nobody had more units than Dwayne. He beat us all. But the beauty of it is, do you know who came third in 2018? Dave? Boys?
No, I don't know.
You.
Oh, okay.
You were third in 2018. Do you know who was second in 2018? Dwayne, who was second?
I'm pretty sure I can guess. By the look on your face, I would say it was you.
It was. So in this round table today, over Skype, on First Pitch, the best baseball show around, the number 1, number 2, and number 3 most profitable handicappers at wagertalk.com sits and talks baseball. But none of us, except you, Dwayne, holds that belt. And by the way, when we do beat you this year, which is likely not going to happen for me, are you going to send that belt out?
Well, somebody's going to beat me because this year's been a challenge for me. So, baseball season in particular has been I'm not used to, but with scoring being up, a guy that does totals and looks at unders a lot like I do, this season has been tough for me. So, I got that belt many years ago at a show that me and my sons went to. So it's not like I didn't buy the belt just because results. I've actually had it for many years. So I think maybe you should get one made up and have it delivered to whoever number 1 is for this year.
You know what? We are going to do that. And every time they come on one of my shows, I will have them wear it or carry it or whatnot. Boys, I am rough today. Oh, my kid graduated last night from high school, and I think her father went harder than her. I got home at 4:15 a.m. She was fast asleep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a little rough around the edges, but so be it. Beautiful day in Toronto. Let's get into some baseball. And we'll start, Dave. We go to you first. The Philadelphia Phillies against the New York Mets. And lo and behold, funny that, the New York Mets lost last night. 7-5, the game went over the total of 11. This team just cannot do anything right now. They've lost 3 in a row. They're a dog tonight at around 128. The over and under is 10.5. We got Vargas versus Pivetta on the mound, 2 decent pitchers. Dave, what do you like in this one?
Not sure. I'm not sure I'm going to go along with the 2 decent pitchers.
Well, they're middle of the pack.
Well, Pivetta was so decent. He got sent to the minors earlier, and he's done a little better since he came back. And Jason Vargas, league average would be an upgrade for Jason Vargas long term. I guess he's been league average this year. Not a lot to choose from here. I think the price is a shade high, but it's been bet up to that, and it went up from 130 to 150. So 150, it's high. The problem is, can you take the Mets? And the answer is no right now. I think they're a really dysfunctional team. The Phillies have a little positive momentum with 2 straight games where they've scored 20 runs, by the way. And so I guess I would lean to the Phillies to win the game, but I don't think it's really a good bet at minus 150.
Dwayne, the Mets have scored 12 runs in their last 2. The Phillies have scored 20 runs in their last 2. Obviously, the bullpens are a bit taxed right now. We got a total of 10.5. Do you like anything in this game?
I mean, I'm going to look at every game from a totals perspective, and with the total sitting at 10.5, it's not one that I'm going to get involved in. Gundam over. Vargas is a guy that, he likes pitching at Citi Field. He's got a 2.79 ERA and a 1.14 whip there this year. But you get him on the road, his ERA is 4.65 and his whip is 1.52. The Phillies, home night games against lefties this year, they're plating 8 runs a game. Mets on the road against righties, averaging 5.2 runs a game. So, I would lean to the over in this one. We've got Eric Cooper behind the plate. The over has cashed 10 out of 13 with Cooper behind the plate at Citizens Bank Park. So I'm not going to get involved in it, but a slight lean to the over.
Dwayne, we spoke earlier that you're really a guy that looks for unders. So when we do get overs from you, I take it those plays are even stronger because you just like to shy away from them.
Again, this year has actually honestly been a struggle for me, even with overs. It seems like, it seems like I zig when I should be zagging lately. So, both unders and overs have been a struggle for me this year so far. I'm hoping it looks like the lines are totals lines are getting higher. Like they're adjusting to the increased scoring this year. So I'm hoping to have some really good opportunities for unders for the rest of the season.
I have a question, and I think it's a legitimate question. Like, look, there's almost no way to handicap bullpens this year. There's just no way to handicap them. Have you found that first 5 totals might be more reliable?
I honestly haven't played a whole lot of them, but it's definitely something that's on my radar right now, because a lot of the beats I've taken have been ridiculous 9th inning collapses where I've got multiple runs to with, and all of a sudden somebody hits a 3-run homer with 2 outs and the game goes over. I've had a lot of luck that way this year, even with good bullpens. When I'm on a full game under with maybe the Padres bullpen or a Houston bullpen or something, it just seems like that's the game that they fall apart. So definitely I'm looking at 5 innings unders, for the rest of the season.
Dave Cokin with us, Dwayne Bryant, both from wagertalk.com. And for some reason, my internet is a bit crappy today, so my apologies, everybody. But that's something I'm also on a mission to fix, and I don't know why I'm even plugged directly in. I'm not even using Wi-Fi, but we're having a bit of issues. We'll tough through it. Let's talk Washington against Miami. Washington won last night 6-1. They are on the road today. They're a minus, give or take, 150 favorite. The over and under in this game is 7.5. They put up 7 last night, 7 the night before against Atlanta. Miami, I mean, look, every now and again this team steps up and hits. I'm struggling to bet totals in anything related to Miami. I like Washington, Dave. It's Corbin versus Gallen. We spoke about Gallen last week. Yeah. He pitched unbelievable. You were talking about how great he is.
No, I wasn't talking. No.
No, he didn't.
No, I did. What I said was he's having a great year in the minor and has definitely seen his stock go up. But he's a guy I kind of put in that once around the league category. I think his stuff is fairly pedestrian overall. I do believe he's going to have success in this first trip around the league, but I think in time he'll settle toward a back of the rotation starter. So I don't look at him as a top flight prospect.
He pitched 5 innings last outing, his first outing, 7-6 win. I like Washington in this game, Dave. Where are you going?
I think it's a little cheap on the price, but boy, I mean the market is just blown up taking Florida here. Miami, I should say. 174 open down to 145, 147. Corbin had really been struggling. His fastball located, and that makes his slider a lot nastier. And that's better as the out pitch for Corbin. So he needs his fastball to be located properly, and that way he can work that slider. I don't know what to do with the game. I think Gallen is going to catch some people by surprise early. And I can see the money for Miami, but at the price it's at now, I'd actually lean the Nationals in terms of where the value is.
We're on the same page there. Dwayne, Bryant, what do you like in this one?
This is one of those games where I like the first 5 innings under. Like Dave just said, I think Gallen's going to catch these Nationals batters off guard early. They've never seen him. Corbin, excellent pitcher there. And Miami's offense, 2.7 runs per game at home against lefties at night. So you can't count on much for them. I can't take a full game under because I don't trust either bullpen in this game. But definitely looks like a first half under would be a good play in this one.
I like that play as well, and especially given with what Dave said. Gallen's going to be one of those 2-3 times through the rotation pitchers where he will surprise some people and then get hit late. Detroit at home hosting Texas. Texas 6 games above 500, trying to make some noise in the AL West. About 68% of the tickets have been written on Texas today. It's basically a pick'em game in both directions. Minus 110 either way. The over and under is 8.5. Texas has won 3 in a row. Detroit, they've lost almost every game this year. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they're just getting thumped. It's Minor versus Boyd. Dave, explain to me why we would not just jump on Texas here. Better team, winning record, playing a Detroit team that just stinks.
Well, I mean, everything except for Matt Boyd, who I know he hasn't pitched well in his last couple of starts, but and that could be tied into the fact that Boyd knows he's going to get traded. He's not going to be in Detroit long, and sometimes that can mess with a pitcher. But I would say the better guy when you factor in the home road stuff, using a lot of the analytics. Minor probably not quite as good as his numbers show on the road. Boyd has been really exceptional at home for the most part, and he's not a pitcher I would go against unless I'm getting a decent price here, and I'm not. Minus 125 open, it's down, as you said, to roughly minus 105 either way. So market coming in on Detroit, I think that is sharp money, and I don't disagree. We're not going to play it for the reasons that you basically said, and also the fact that I think Mike Minor is more legit than some of his metrics would show. He's got a great spin rate, and he's been really good. So for me, this is strictly a no play. I crossed this game off almost. I do think there's a possibility, and I'll let Dwayne speak on this. It could end up a pitcher's duel, which would make that 8.5 something that where the under might be attractive.
Yeah, I'm not with you on the pitcher's duel. I think this game's going to go over. 8.5 is a very low total. Last time Texas was involved in an 8.5 game was 9 games ago. The score was 11-3.
Well, they were at home. They've been at home since then.
Yeah,
and
no.
You're not going to get 8.5s in Texas.
Yeah, last time Detroit had an 8.5. Kansas City, they won 7-3. I don't know. I think both of these teams are hitting the ball to some degree. Detroit in the last few games, 3-3, 0-6, 7-5. I think this is a low number. I'm looking to play this game over the total. Dwayne?
Yeah, I have a small lean to the over 8.5 in this one also. Minor on the road, his xFIP, and xFIP is an advanced metric for those who aren't accustomed to that. It's in simplest terms, it's just a very good predictor of future performance. Minor's road xFIP this year is 51. The Tigers in home night games against lefties, 6 runs per game. The over cashed in all 5 of those games. Boyd is solid, I believe, but the Detroit bullpen is not. They're pretty bad, so we can see some late runs for Texas in this game also. We also have Mark Carlson behind the plate. Carlson shows a pretty strong over tendency, which helps sway me a little bit to the over 8.5 here.
Guys, for some reason, again, we're just having terrible internet issues today. It's my fault. It's in my house. I don't understand it. I'm utterly baffled. I'm actually wired in today. I'm not even using Wi-Fi. I'm going to get somebody to come over and take a look in the next few days, because once my studio is set up, there's going to be no excuses. These are going to be very professionally done shows with more organization, more preparation, and a whole lot more coking. Because, Dave, you are the show, baby. St. Louis, 40-38 on the season, playing Oakland, 42-38 on the season. About 61% of the tickets have been written on St. Louis so far. They're around a -145. We have an over and under of 9.5. Oakland just beat St. Louis 7-3 in their last game. And they are rolling. I mean, they have won 6 of their last 8 games. St. Louis has lost their last 2. Mengden versus Wainwright. Man, I mean, I can't get a grip on Wainwright. I play on him. He pitches terribly. I play against him. He pitches a gem. This is a guy I just struggle with. I'm passing on this game. Dave, where are you going?
Well, Wainwright's been, like a lot of the Cardinal pitchers this year, he's been much better at home than on the road. His numbers at home are pretty respectable. Both the base numbers, the ERA is better than the FIP and the xFIP, but those numbers are not bad by any means. He's under 4, both of those, and under 4 is pretty good. Mengden, he's been kind of a quad A guy, but he has pitched pretty well so far. And the A's are feeling good about themselves. It's priced just right to me. This is a game where the odds makers nailed it. I made the price 140. That is the price. So at this point, anything would be a guess, and I'm not going to bother with that.
Dwayne, what do you like, brother?
I got to lean to the under 9.5 in this game. You guys touched on Wainwright, and Dave said it. I mean, home-road dichotomy. At home, 268 ERA, 391 xFIP, both solid numbers. On the road, 6.56 ERA and a 4.90 xFIP, so pretty substantial difference there. So we're getting the better of Wainwright at home. The other thing I like about this game is I like when to bet unders when the batters are not familiar with the starting pitcher that they're going to be facing. Schmidt is the only batter that has faced Mengden, and Chris Davis is the only batter that's faced Wainwright in this game, being this is an interleague matchup. So I like that unfamiliarity early on. I believe that gives the pitcher the edge there. Both bullpens are decent. So I think the 9.5 under looks like a good play there.
It's a great angle, Dwayne. Dave, do you ever look at that stuff?
Oh, sure. Well, you hear me talking all the time about first time around pitchers when we're talking about the rookies.
Yeah, that's a great angle, Dwayne.
Another one going there.
Okay, let's get to the Atlanta-Chicago Cubs game. Chicago was the disappointment last night. Dave had a 5-unit play on Chicago, and they couldn't get it done. They lost 3-2. I did tell all of you guys, and I've been saying bet the overs in Atlanta, bet the overs in Atlanta. I told you guys I was laying off last night. I felt like that game was going to go under the total. 3-2 for Atlanta last night. Cubs tonight, minus 130-ish, over and under 9.5, which is back to normalness for Atlanta, so I'm going over again in this game. Dave, does Chicago bounce back here?
Boy, they played a bad game last night. I mean, Atlanta deserved to win because they didn't play a bad game. They played good defense. The pitcher, Fried, did a nice job of missing some bats and getting ground balls. But Chicago blew the game. They got bases loaded, 1 out in the second inning. Rookie pitcher who's never had a hit professionally. He's 0 for 16 as a pro, 0 for 2 in the majors. And Madden, for some reason, decides to squeeze bunt, and one of the weirdest plays you'll ever see. The pitcher misses the bunt. The runner from third gets picked off, and the runner on second also gets picked off. He bunted into a double play without making contact, and they didn't even clear that spot in the order. Later in the game, first and second, none out in the 8th inning. Chris Bryant swings at the first pitch, double play, and the 2-run homer by Albies that, again, will fault Madden here. Got a man on first, 2 outs. Ozzie Albies is a switch hitter who is way better from the right side. I mean, it's a tremendous dichotomy. Got to bring a righty in. Leaves Montgomery in, and the wind got a hold of a fly ball and pushed it over the fence, and that's the ball game. So I was pretty irritated with that loss. I was happier with the Seattle winner. As for tonight's game, I think the price is low. I know the Braves won last night. They're playing good ball right now, but and the Braves are throwing a lefty, which can be tough on the Cubs. But when a good team plays a game as badly as they did last night, and they know, every player in the Cubs knows they blew the game last night. I like teams like that to bounce back. Not with bad teams, but the Cubs would still fall into the good team category. And I have a feeling the Cubs will get this one.
Dwayne, this is the first time you've been on First Pitch all year. And just to give you some background, I've been telling the bettors since literally day one to bet the Atlanta over the total blind. Don't even look who they're playing. Don't worry about their pitchers. Don't worry about the lines. They're 44-33 to the over. Yesterday was the first game I did not bet the over. There was a 12 hung out there, and I thought that was just too much. So I'm 44-32 on the over in this game, and I'm going back to the well, dude. Lines normalized, 9.5. I'm taking the over blind again.
Yeah, a slight lean to the over. Braves averaging 5.3 runs in road night games against righties. Cubs averaging 5 runs a game in home night games against lefties. And Darvish is one of those pitchers, he hasn't pitched as well at road. If you look on the road, he's got a 3.59 ERA, a 1.22 WHIP, batters with a 6.47 OPS against him. But you get him at Wrigley, his ERA is 5.91 with a 1.50 WHIP, and the OPS is up to 8.32. So he's definitely got hit, at Wrigley for sure. Neither bullpen is bad. So, I usually like to have at least one bullpen I can count on to give up some runs if I'm going to bet an over. But I don't see it here. So, a small lean to the over, but, I'm not going to have money on it. That's for sure.
Cincinnati on the road playing the Angels. They were playing to the under all year. They're still playing to the under, 27-48. They had a quick 3-game over streak, and now that's gone. Went under last night. Los Angeles Angels 5, Cincinnati 1. Pretty even money ticket-wise today. Home team is favored around minus 115 to 120. We have a total of 9.5. Rourke versus Berea. Dave, where are you going here?
It's a big start for Berea. Really big start for him. The Angels want him in the rotation, and there's been an adjustment made. He is no longer going to be throwing his two-seamer. They've jumped it, and he's going to be throwing four-seamers along with his other stuff. And we've seen this many times, right? You can point to pitchers who've made a change in their pitching arsenal, and at least for a while, it has a tendency to work. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case here. So Berea is going to be letting it rip with the fastball. He's not going to be going the ground ball route with the tries the two-seamer, which just doesn't work. It's just not a very good two-seamer. I like the move by the Angels. I think Berea knows what's at stake here. Rourke has been okay for the Reds. He's been okay lately. He's a decent pitcher. His metrics are fair overall, not great on the road. The Angels have a little mojo going their way right now. I would look at that side here.
Dwayne, I know you want to talk totals, and I lean on the over in this game, but I can't bring it home, not with Cincinnati so consistently playing to the under. I see no value on the side.
One thing, I got to mention this because I wrote it down and I almost forgot. The start time in this game is, 5:07, I believe? Is that right?
It says 8:07 Eastern.
Okay, so you're going to get shadows in the first couple innings here. And this ballpark is really tough to hit in with shadows. There's a glare. The hitters have problems picking up the ball. So this game, runs might be tough to come by.
It's a great point, Dave. Dwayne, fill us in.
Yeah, I agree. I like the slight lean to the under in this game. Dave just made a good point about the shadows, being the start time is 5:07. And you said also the Reds playing a lot of unders. They only average 4 runs a road game at night against righties. Their bullpen is surprising me is actually solid, even by the advanced metrics is really solid. They've got the 5th best xFIP in baseball this year. Like you said, like Dave said, Berea making changes to his arsenal tonight should see some improvement there as well. So again, a slight lean to the under 9.5 in that one.
He's Dwayne Bryant. I'm the Prez, Lawrence Presman, co-founder of Wager Talk TV. Dave Cokin, the legend himself, is with us every day. The show is taped Monday to Friday. And you can find us at our Wager Talk TV at YouTube. Surprise guest tomorrow, a first-timer. Check in and see who it is. Okay, let's talk Houston. They're hosting Pittsburgh. Dave, Houston is 50-30 on the season. That is 20 games above 500, and yet they have only made their bettors 2 units of money on the money line and 2 units of money on the run line. For however good they have been, it's been tough to make money on them this year. And here we go again. They're minus anywhere from 230 to 250. It's all over the place. 9.5 is the total. We've got Agrizel versus Valdez. How do you bet this game?
For me, you don't. Pretty much that simple. I don't have a data on either pitcher. Agrizel's just making a second start. Not bad his first time around. Valdez, he looks like a guy who could be a pretty good pitcher down the road, but he definitely has some learning curve stuff. However, he's been good at home in a limited sample. 230, no, not really interested. I made the price. I made it 220, so it's right where it's supposed to be.
Dwayne, any thoughts on the total?
I'm looking at the first 5 innings under. Like Agrizel, again, Houston's batters are going to be seeing him for the first time. I think that does give him an early edge. And Valdez has been much better at home. Yeah, it is a small sample size. But he has pitched very well in Houston with a 308 xFIP at home. Pirates are only averaging 3.6 runs in road night games against lefties, and the Houston bullpen is one of the best in the game. But I'd still lean to the first 5 under instead of full game, only because I don't trust the Pirates bullpen at all. And basically, in games where it looks like all the runs are going to come from one side, I definitely want to be on the under. So first 5 under for me in that one.
Dave, we've been talking about Snell for a while now. We wanted to see what he did last night, and he didn't do much. Tampa Bay lost to Minnesota 9-4. Snell is just, 3 back-to-back just disasters.
Yep.
Tonight we have Charlie Morton, who you love, against Jake Odorizzi, who's also phenomenal. Hell of a pitcher's duel tonight in this game. And yet we have a 9 on the board. It shows how well both these teams are hitting. The home team is basically plus 100. The away team minus 120. A lot of money, a lot of tickets being written on Minnesota tonight, even against Charlie Morton. What do you like in this game?
Well, Odorizzi might be showing some signs of regression, which a lot of people have been waiting for because, and I know Dwayne will probably get into this, if you look at some of those analytics, he's been outperforming his metrics, let's put it that way. His last 2 starts, however, have not been good. So he's starting to go the other way a little bit, and I think that has to happen. Jake Odorizzi is another pitcher we talked about who made some this year with his stride, and it really just spiked him to the best stretch of pitching he's ever enjoyed. But he's always been a number 4 starter, and I think zebras don't change their stripes long haul. And I believe that he's starting to get back toward what we're more used to with Odorizzi, which is a high pitch count guy, will throw a lot of strikes, but is mostly just a fastball pitcher. And the question is whether the Tampa Rays can catch up with him right now. Tampa's starting to go the wrong way.
That they are.
And they've gotten through with, smoke and mirrors, I guess you could say. And they're not playing real good ball right now. But Charlie Morton does rate the edge on the mound here. And the bettors have reflected that. The market's moved from 110 Minnesota to 110 the other way. And I think this will continue to go up. It gets to 115, maybe even 120. Lean to the Rays, but in their current form and considering Minnesota's team form at home, really tough the case to actually bet the Rays in this game. I do give them the pitching edge, though, and if I had to make a play, it would be on Tampa.
Dwayne, Tampa Bay lost 6 of 9. They are hitting the ball here, but, last 2 games went over, 2 before that under, 2 before that over, 2 before that under. This game looks to me like it could be an under. I think both pitchers are going to pitch well tonight.
Yeah, I do lean under in this game. These 2 pitchers, there's been on. Comes to whip, Morton is 11th out of those 121, and Odorizzi is 16th. So they're not letting a lot of guys on. Dave mentioned about Odorizzi's not, the difference between how he is and his metrics. He's got a 191 ERA at home, but the xFIP is only 417 at home. So that tells me that there's going to be some regression way. Morton has a road xFIP of 342. And I lean to the under 9 in this game. I don't, neither bullpen is impressive, but neither of them really concerns me all that much. So 9 looks solid to me.
Guys, Seattle, Milwaukee, nothing on the board. Where I'm happy to talk about this game if you want. I don't need to, but Dave, a great call last night.
Yeah, it wasn't that difficult because Zach Davies is in full regression now, and there's a good example of a guy was clearly outperforming his metrics by a tremendous margin. And once the regression slide begins, you can generally do well fading those guys. That's what I was suggesting on Odorizzi. I think it's starting to show. It's definitely been showing with Davies, so we got that one. Tonight, Wade LeBlanc will be the primary pitch for Seattle. They'll open with whoever they open with, and then LeBlanc will come in the second or third innings. We saw Milwaukee have trouble with lefty last night. Maybe they will again. Adrian Hauser will move into the rotation for the Brewers, and Hauser's numbers so far, not terrible. And I'm sure he's going to be really excited because this is a chance for him to become a regular part of a contending team's rotation. I like that as a rule, but when this price does go up, Milwaukee will be a big favorite, and that will keep me off the game.
Dwayne, any quick thoughts on this game?
No, I didn't even have anything on this game with no pitcher listed for Seattle. I just skipped right over it.
I'm with you on that. Listeners, again, sorry for the internet issues today. It was worse than it's been in ages. I'm on top of it. I'll have it fixed. Dwayne, thank you so much for joining, my friend. I know you need to be out of your house in 5 minutes, so the timing is perfect. Dave, we'll see you tomorrow with a new guest, another first-timer, and then Friday with Brian Leonard. Be well, everyone. Take care. Make sure to keep commenting. We're reading them. We're looking at them. And thanks for being part of the Wager Talk family.
Good luck, everybody.